Next on Startup, we're headed to Cleveland, Ohio to meet with Vince, who started Gotta Groove Records, the one-stop shop record pressing plant that's helping revive the vinyl movement. Then we head to Detroit, Michigan to meet with Suzanne, who started Simply Suzanne, a natural food company that's creating her own style of granola and trail mix. Then we head to Washington, D.C. to meet with Noah, who created Feastly, a homegrown dinner club that makes your culinary skills available to local foodies. All of this and more is next on Startup.
The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in Walsh College's business launch entrepreneurial community. Consultants provide advice to aspiring business starters. More information available online.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
American Express is proud to support Startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup. I'm on Superior Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. We're gonna go talk to Vince, who created Gotta Groove Records. Although Vince already had a long career as a corporate attorney, his love for music and desire to start a business has him pressing his way into a re-emerging industry. Let's go hear his story. Over the next 5 years, the record store industry is not likely to experience growth due to a dominating presence of online alternatives. However, vinyl sales are expected to continue to rise. In 2012, vinyl album sales reached $4.6 million, the highest recorded vinyl sales in history according to Nielsen SoundScan. Vince has always had an interest in music, and when he retired, he researched the market demands and made an educated decision to pursue his dream of creating a facility that would produce high-quality vinyl records. After trial and error, Gotta Groove is fast becoming the go-to source for vinyl pressing in the Midwest. I want to know about you as a person. Tell me about your history.
Yeah, I'm an attorney by background. I was general counsel for a company for a number of years, moved over to the management side of things, ended up as the chief operating officer of the company. We sold it in 2006. And I left at the beginning of 2008.
Were you happy with the job as an attorney? Was that?
Oh yeah, actually, I was very happy. Yeah, it was a great job. It was intellectually stimulating. It was a great company to work for, and in fact, a lot of the lessons I learned from that company, I've applied here.
How much time between leaving there and deciding to get into this?
About a year. I considered going to work for somebody else, and every time I started thinking about that, I couldn't get excited about it. I just started gravitating more and more towards the idea of starting a business.
Why vinyl? I mean, yes, I see manufacturing, but have you always been a music fan?
Sure. Yeah, I've always loved music ever since I was a kid. Had, and still have, obviously, a vinyl collection. Actually even had a record store in college for a short period of time. My brother-in-law and I started a record store out of our dorm room, and then once we put an ad in the paper, quickly got shut down. And we got a vendor's license and everything. We didn't realize we couldn't do that until we got hauled before the dean and basically said, you can't do that. And
let's talk about the space.
I initially wanted to locate near the Beachland Ballroom, which is a fairly well-known concert venue here in town. Looked at some spaces there, but they really didn't have anything industrial, nothing large enough.
More commercial retail.
Right. But I had a leasing agent, and he said, I got a space you might be interested in. So he took me down here, And I was immediately interested in it. One of the reasons of which is my neighbor's a brewery who just started up several months before I did that. Well, I thought that was, if there was such a thing as a sign, that was a pretty good one.
All right, so your customers, how do you find them, and how do they find you? And you've been open for 4 years now, so business is going well, obviously.
Yeah, obviously we started with 0 sales. Another, I guess every business has these stories where, you don't do it yourself. You have other people who really make things happen. And we started with, a few local clients, and now we're doing, a customer in China, a bunch in Australia. Wow. Yeah.
Of the 228 million physical albums sold in 2011, nearly 2% were vinyl. 2/3 of those albums were purchased at independent music stores. What is this room and what happens here?
This is the quality room. I basically take records off the press, bring them in here, listen to them, make sure there's not any imperfections, the machines aren't messing up.
So with a record like that, show me what I do.
Yeah, usually what I do is when I take it off the press, we take the first one off, because if there's a mistake on the first one, every record underneath will probably have it. You take it off and you spot check it. And you kind of leave off where you are. Like, for example, I've been listening to this for about 150 records.
You sick of it yet?
No, I've only listened to it a few times. Okay. Like, you do once, the speed of the job is I can't really listen to the whole record. So you usually do a song, and then, you spot check it, and you can maybe spot check quiet parts if the record's pressing bad or good or whatever, just so you know that there's nothing on there. But yeah, we really nitpick stuff to, like, you want it to be all of them to be as good as possible, so.
Vinyl's lingering appeal seems to stem from a combination of tangibility, nostalgia, and perhaps most importantly, a sound quality that musicians and fans generally prefer over any other medium. What types of artists are doing vinyl? Is it indie? Is it electronic music? Of course, people are going to think DJs when they think of records.
Yeah, DJs really are not doing vinyl anymore. And really what's driving this is, as I mentioned, younger people buying vinyl. The younger generation is finding, there's an emotional attachment, if you will,
yeah.
Or, or a record can be evocative of a time and place and a certain song. But it's also, you have to be physically engaged with the record. You have to take it out, you have to handle it with care, you have to put it on.
Yeah. So is this business sustainable for you? Are you making a living? Can you support your family? And how does it compare to your job before, your career before?
We're at the point where the business basically is carrying its own water. It needs to do better, but I'm confident that we'll get there. I mean, we did, basically 40-some projects our first 3 months of operation, which was the end of '09. Last year we did 1,200 or so, something like that, and this year is going to be more than last year.
I think there's a lot of people that will watch this show that are second career type people. What do you have to say to that demographic, those folks out there?
Don't be shy about asking for help. People are happy to help. People, in a way, when you ask people for help, you're flattering them, right? Because you're relying on their expertise. And I'm never ceased to be amazed by how helpful people will be. But you got to ask them, and a lot of people won't do that because they're afraid to ask, or they won't have time for me, or whatever. But more often than not, people are very helpful, and they'll be your strength for something like this.
The thing that people are most afraid of is getting to the end of their life and saying, "I wish I would have."
Right.
Does that take a little part in what you've done?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I knew I wanted to do this, or in the back of my mind, I thought, I want to know what it's like to start a business from scratch. And it would have been a big missing chunk if I looked back and never had that experience. So.
Well, thanks a lot for talking with me. I've learned a lot about vinyl. Now I have to go home and buy a new Techniques table, dust off my old records, and get back into the groove here. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Vince took something that he loved, he did the research, and took a huge gamble on a second career. It's never too late to start from scratch. Sometimes it's just as easy as press and play. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Gotta Groove Records. I'm on Mack Avenue in Detroit, Michigan, and we're gonna go talk to Suzanne Veer, who created Simply Suzanne. Now in 2009, Suzanne left her corporate recruiting job in New York City to move back to Detroit and create her own unique brand of granola. Let's go find out how she's in over 1,000 stores and has taken a huge bite out of the natural food industry. With the proliferation of custom diets, food allergies, as well as the increased demand for innovative and artisanal food products, there's an ample opportunity for startups to create, launch, and showcase their products at farmers markets and local grocers. Suzanne started with a recipe in her kitchen for trail mix and granola by using what she calls simple and honest ingredients. And through hard work and perseverance, she's created a national foods company that caught the attention of some national big box retailers.
I'm originally from Michigan. I was born in Detroit and lived here. But I spent 16 years in New York City working in the corporate world. I was in human resources and recruitment primarily, and always had a passion for food. Did a lot of travel, and my last trip was actually in Spain. And I had studied under a Catalan chef there, and they were using products in very, very simple ways, but with really unique spin by adding some type of savory aspect to it. So I came home and started putting black pepper on everything, including my granola that I was eating a lot. Within the first month, we were at Easter Market. People were loving it. It was really well received by the customers. People really embraced it. It was really exciting. From there, we had a lot of people kind of coming down to Easter Market. And within the first month, we were in 9 stores in the Metro Detroit area and in Grand Rapids. We realized we had something that could potentially be sustainable.
Where did the initial financing come for the granola product?
It came out of my life savings.
So the 401k covered it?
Yeah, so I basically started the business in the first 2 years, funded it myself.
Explain the distribution process from that point. What was your first big box chain store that you were into?
Our first big win, if you will, in terms of larger distribution was with Meijer. They're known as one of the largest supermarket chains in the United States. So it helped propel us into kind of the big leagues. Basically, I found out who the buyer was, sent him an email, sent him samples, and was very persistent.
Okay.
And it took about a year. It took about a year for us to get on the shelves. So that really caught the attention of some of the other larger companies as well. Right at the same time, we were approved to go into Whole Foods Michigan stores, which was a huge win for us because all of our product is all natural. We believe in kind of all natural ingredients. They're very strict in who they bring in, and you go through a very long process to, evaluate your ingredients and your ingredient statement. So it was really kind of saying something that we could actually, support what we have and what we do. Non-GMO means non-genetically modified ingredients. So it goes into every single ingredient on the back of the bags are basically certified as not coming from anything that was genetically modified.
Did you do a business plan when you went in?
No, we didn't.
The U.S. snack foods manufacturing industry includes about 500 companies with combined annual revenue of $27 billion, and they're expected to grow over the next 2 years. What are we going to make today?
We're going to do a really simple and easy granola parfait.
Okay.
So basically granola parfait is granola, yogurt, and berries.
The product is actually outsourced and made in Akron, Ohio.
We have a baking facility and then a packaging company that does the packaging, and then it comes into our warehouse.
Are they both in Akron?
No. So it's cooked products, is shipped to another location, they package it there, and then it gets shipped to us.
Now, is that cost effective to do it that way with that kind of supply chain, or are you looking in the future to get everything being done in one spot?
We would love to have everything done in one spot. It is the most cost effective based on our size, but also we are in some of the larger store chains and they have very high food safety requirements.
Okay, so the facilities already have that in place and the cost to do that yourself would be immense.
Right, they have the level of food safety certifications that are needed, and we weren't able to locate anything that was more local.
All right, so take their granola, lay it. This is the peanut granola. I'm excited to try this.
Yeah, it's our original. And put as much or as little as you'd like. Then
Okay.
and what's so great about this is that you can't mess it up. It's great to do with kids or your family or whatever if it's something on the go. So I'm just gonna layer it with some yogurt. Then I'm gonna add some bananas, and I'm gonna add some
To admit, I'm
blueberries.
a huge parfait fan. So
Are you?
Right now, I'm like Pavlov's dog. I'm salivating over this.
Oh, you'll be eating it soon enough. So do you want some fruit? Grab
Absolutely.
some bananas.
Yep.
And then kind of keep on putting on the layers and top it off with a little bit more granola. And what's so great about this is that it's crunchy, it's creamy,
Sweet.
it's sweet, but it's savory too.
It's healthy.
Yeah, look how easy this was. Do you want some blueberries?
Absolutely.
There you go. So just take your spoon and eat it. Give it a whirl.
I am so excited right now.
Look at my
The
picnic.
crew right now is looking at me like we haven't had lunch yet. That is incredible. U.S. sales of organic products totaled $31.5 billion in 2011, representing 4.2% of overall U.S. food sales. Your website and social media, how has that impacted your business from the beginning all the way through until now?
People really want to connect with the products that they're eating. They want to know what's going on, new flavors, new things that are coming out. Especially for a small company, it's really the least expensive way for us to get the word out.
What do you have to say to people out there that are looking to start a small business?
The biggest thing for me is really asking questions. I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't kind of go back to my corporate world days of interviewing people and people, asking me questions and networking to understand how this industry works.
Thank you so much for talking with us
Thank
today.
you.
Really appreciate it.
Likewise.
Although the natural food market is both crowded and highly competitive, Suzanne possesses the unique blend of both passion and persistence that it takes to be a highly successful entrepreneur. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Simply Suzanne. I'm on L Street in Washington, D.C. And we're going to talk to Noah, who created Feastly. Ever since college, Noah had a strong interest in international relations. And we're going to find out how Noah was able to channel his global ambitions through the dinner table. Let's go hear his story. There are an estimated 980,000 licensed restaurants in the United States that are expected to generate $660.5 billion in sales by the end of 2013. This represents 4% of the U.S. GDP. But that doesn't account for the unlicensed home cooking phenomenon that attracts local patrons to a home for a modestly priced home-cooked meal. Inspired by his travels and unique food experiences abroad, Noah created Feastly, a marketplace where passionate cooks could connect with adventurous eaters seeking a more authentic and social dining option by offering home-cooked meals in the cook's home. I want to know about you as a person, so tell us who you are. A little bit about your history, professional, education.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up here in D.C., and my family, my parents, both of them were professionals. My dad's a doctor, my mom's a librarian. So I didn't grow up in a very entrepreneurial household, per se. I lived in Egypt and in Israel for a while. Then when I got back, after I finished working, my girlfriend and I, we took a trip to Mexico and Guatemala. And I couldn't find any Guatemalan food in Guatemala, which is really weird, and I'm sure there was, but in the areas that we were, there was just no Guatemalan. It was just like bad tourist restaurants. Eventually, we just like randomly came across this young avocado seller. We said, hey, do you know where we can find some real Guatemalan food? And he looks at us and it's like, yeah, at my house.
Sweet.
And we were like, awesome, let's do this. So we followed him back to his house. He swung open the door, and there his mom was just like preparing this amazing feast of Guatemalan food. And as we were there interacting with them, learning, sharing, eating, it kind of hit me as like, why is it so hard for me to find this? And for her, she would have loved to showcase this, but why was it so hard for her to do that? And that was sort of the spark for Feastly.
Just to kind of put it out there in a very comprehensive way, Feastly is a way for people to invite you into their home the way you were in Guatemala. You have this incredible concept. How do we monetize it? How do you turn it into a business?
It costs less and less money to start a company these days. I think from my experience with starting the Blind Dog Cafe was kind of integral for how I looked at Feastly. So just to give you some background, the Blind Dog Cafe is a cafe here in Washington, D.C. that myself and two friends of mine, Jonas and Cullen, started. We put together the concept in about a month and a half till actual opening up the place.
That's quick.
Which is unheard of. And we did it with no money, basically. What that really taught me was that you don't need a lot to be able to create something amazing and to see if something will work, right? From that, I really applied those lessons to Feastly. So after my trip to Guatemala, I basically came back, and there's an organization called Startup Weekend, which is a weekend, 54-hour weekend that brings together designers, developers, entrepreneurs. Everyone just pitches an idea, whatever it is.
Here in DC?
Them all over the world, over 200 cities. And in 54 hours, we built the initial product that became Feastly. It was basically just an email list that we put together that said, hey, we're doing these things, and if you know anyone who likes to cook and wants to do this, like, let us know. We were bringing in revenue from day one because we take a small percentage of whatever the seat transaction is.
So the host is charging a flat rate per plate.
So whatever they post, we actually add 10% to the cost at the end. So it's $20, it'll be $22.
Okay.
And then we take 20% of that new price of that $22, and the cook gets back the rest. So the cook typically gets back about 88% of whatever their price is.
That's great.
So yeah.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
In-home, intimate, or social dinner parties are a very profitable niche segment within the food industry because requests for intimate dinner parties are generally unable to be serviced by larger catering outfits. You're a chef on Feastly. Is it profitable being a Feastly chef?
Because of the money I've made, I've actually started doing a little side business, doing pickling, and got me back into the kitchen. So it's been a segue in a lot of different ways, both financially and kind of confidence boosting.
It seems great for the people that are coming to the dinner because they get a chance to socialize and meet new people, and it's a really cool experience. But on your end, as a prospective small business owner, chef, you get to kind of put your toe in the water without jumping all the way in and feel your way around. You're a customer.
Yes, I am.
What does that mean?
I'm not really sure. It means that I like to go to Feastly events, and that I tell my friends a lot about what Feastly is doing. I mean, the hosts are usually super welcoming. Sometimes they have name tags. They give you name tags to wear, or like a fun fact.
Right.
And so you kind of go in, and people are signing up to do this Feastly dinner. So I think they want to meet people, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is that, for me at least, it's meeting new people, checking out the community, and so people aren't like, who are these people in my house? They're like, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Let me tell you about the food
They
that
probably
I love.
feel the uncomfortableness and want to squash that right away and get rid of it instead of like the possibility of next week there being Lauren stew.
No, definitely not. I think it's a really warm and inviting environment, and
Right.
people, the people who hold these events are usually people who maybe have pipe dreams of being a chef.
Sure. Not only are you're posting on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all that.
So yeah, so we have social media channels, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I would assume that the people that attend your events and the chefs, they're probably posting as well about it.
Exactly.
So it's really creating this huge web of, word of mouth.
Right, word of mouth and content.
Both online and in person.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for other entrepreneurs?
My biggest piece of advice is 50% of it is just doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And you can try to think about all the various scenarios that will happen, how to make everything perfect, but you're so small at this point that your advantage is your nimbleness.
Sure.
Is that you don't have to move this massive ship. It's just you or one or two other people. And you can do a lot with that.
Thanks a lot for talking with us
so
today.
much.
I appreciate
Cheers.
it. Feastly is turning food into a true social event among strangers, as well as providing an outlet for people who love to cook. From a simple idea to a successful online business, Feastly has people all over the country coming back for seconds. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Feastly.
Well, when you're choosing a business partner, it's back to my point about people. You want to make sure you're partnering with, people you really believe in and you can trust and you can learn from, and someone that complements your skill set. So, having a co-founder and starting a business can be a great support system, and you complement each other in that you can test ideas and make sure you're staying the course because you've got that balance. So it's an important part of. It can be a great important part of the business, and it's a great way that you can each bring different skill sets to the table and move the business faster.
Next time on Startup, I'm going to Washington, D.C. to meet with Caroline, who started Righteous Cheese, a small artisan cheese shop that's educating locals about cheese from around the world. Then we're heading to New York to meet with Constance, who created Hot Girls Pearls, custom body cooling jewelry that helps women cope with hot flashes. And finally, we're going to Ferndale, Michigan to talk to Berkey, who created Four Chamber Forge, a company that turns scrapped wood into unique handmade jewelry. Make sure to join us next time on Startup. Visit our website at startup-usa.com and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. What do you call organic food? What did they call organic food in 1950?
No idea.
Food.
Exactly. Exactly.
The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in Walsh College's business launch entrepreneurial community. Consultants provide advice to aspiring business starters. More information available online.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet. Find new roads.
American Express is proud to support startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.